it's a very interesting parak. It speaks about minhagim from different places, if they apply to how they apply. So the Mishnah starts off on the bottom of Daf Nun Amud Aleph. The Mishnah says, "Makom shenagu lasis malacha b'arei Pesachim." If they have a city or town that the minig is to do malacha on Erev Pesach at Chatzos, we're going to see what that means soon. But there's some people have a minig that on Erev Pesach in general they don't work. So then, so that's the minig of the place. Makom shenagu shaloi lasis. But if the minig of the place is not to do malacha on the whole Pesach, so they don't do malacha. Meaning some places have the minig. Some places have the minig to do malacha on Erev Pesach. Some people have the minig that on Erev Pesach they do not do malacha. What is the? Let's say I live in London, and London doesn't do malacha, and I go to Manchester. Manchester's the minig is to do malacha on Erev Pesach. So what's the thing? What do I have to do? So if I go from one city that does malacha to another city that's more machmir and doesn't do malacha, so do I have to be machmir like them or not? Or the other way around? What if I go from a place that's more machmir to another place, another city, I go on Erev Pesach that's more meikah and does malacha on Erev Pesach. So if I have a minig of one place, and in one place, in London, and I go to Manchester, Manchester has a different minig, do I have to keep the Manchester minig, or do I stay with the London minig? So the Mishnah answers, we always give him the more stringent meaning that if he comes from a place that's more machmir and he goes to a place that's more mekel, he doesn't do the kula, he continues doing the chumrah. So if London's more machmir and he goes to Manchester, he has to stop working. And if the other way around, if his place is more mekel and then if his place is more mekel and then he goes to a place that's more machmir, obviously he has to do like the meaning of Bakim. So the chiddush over is, we're going to see soon, that even if he comes from a place that's more mekel and he goes to a place that's more machmir, he has to keep the more chumadik minig, when he always has to keep the chumadik minig. We're going to see in the Gemara later. Continues the Gemara saying, another time where we see this idea is hamelech peres shvis mimakim shekalu lamakim shalei kol. There's a the din by shvis. What is by shmita? So the din is that by shmita, the way it works is Torah said that if you need food to eat during shmita, so let's say you take apples, so you're able to take all the apples from your field and bring them into your house. All the apples, you bring some apples into your house, and you're able to continue eating the apples until all the apples of the city finish, meaning the animals or the season of apples is over. As soon as the seasons of apple is over, even though you still have apples left over in your house, you have to now burn those apples. It's called bir shvis. You have to burn those apples. So what if I go from one place? Let's say I have fruit in my house in London, and in London all the apples are already finished. So now up din I have to burn these apples. But I take these apples and I go to Manchester. So can I eat apples in Manchester? Because in Manchester, it's still mutter for them to eat apples during Shemitah. Or the other way around. I take fruit from a place that is mutter to eat apples. That's in London. The apple still didn't finish yet, so I'm able to eat it. And I go to Manchester, where Manchester finished eating the apples already, so it's us to eat. So the question is, can I eat apples in a place that has a different meaning than the place I came from? So what's the din? The Mishnah Paskins? I'm just saying it in short now because the Gemara is going to explain it soon. The din is chayiv the var, you're chayiv to burn the apples. We're going to explain later. The Gemara is going to explain at length what Rabbi means with this statement. So let's just start the Gemara. It says the Gemara. So we said in the Mishnah that some places have the minig not to work on Erev Pesach. Says the Gemara, why does the Tan decide to speak about not working on Erev Pesach? I feel like every Shabbos is for every Yom Tov, and that means every Yom Tov you can't work. We're going to see soon that every Yom Tov it's also to work. The Tanya could be learned in the Brayso. Anyone who works on Erev Shabbos and Erev Yom Tov from meantime isn't going to see any fruit from his isn't going to make any money, or isn't going to make any blessings from his work. So every Erev Shabbos and every Yom Tov is also to work. Why do we say, what's this whole discussion about Pesach? So answers the Gemara two answers. First is number one, Hasam over there. by regular Yom Tif or regular Erev Shabbos, it's only Asr min Mincha l'maylo Asr. It's only Asr from Mincha. After from Mincha time, then it's Asr to do Malacha. But Samach l'Mincha, lay. But the time of the day from Chatzos going on, it's not Asr. Hacha, but Erev Pesach is extra machmir because mechatzos is it's Asr from Chatzos. So all the other Yom Tovim where an Erev Shabbos it's only Asr to do Malacha dafka from Mincha. But Erev Pesach it's Asr dafka from Chatzos. And that's why the Gemara starts, the Mishnah starts speaking about the example from Erev Pesach, because Erev Pesach it's more chamer because by Chatzos already they stop doing Malacha. That's one answer. Another answer is Hasam Simon Bracho de Lechazi. That which we say that on a regular Erev Shabbos and Erev Yom Tov you shouldn't work. Doesn't mean that's also to work. It means that if you do work, you're not going to see any fruit. You're not going to make money and be successful from the business. But if you do work, Bezdin are going to put you on cherem and close down your business. But regarding Pesach is different. Regarding Pesach, not only it's also to work, but shamuti nami shamtin le. If you do work, Bezdin are going to come and close down your business and going to put you on cherem. Says the Gemara further. Gufa, we learned in a brayso like this. If someone does malacha on Erev Pesach, or he does malacha of Erev Yom Tov, he does malacha on Erev Yom Tov, from mincha time, over Matzah Shabbos, over Matzah Yom Tov, or he does malacha on Matzah Shabbos or Matzah Yom Tov, over Matzah Yom Kippurim or Matzah Yom Kippur, or any other time of the year that it's problematic to do malacha then. We're going to see what those mean soon. Which just comes to include tiny tzibur, that if a person works on a public fast day, so the din is, Bryce finishes off, he's never going to see from that work, he's never going to see any fruit, he's never going to see any successful business coming out of that work. Another thing we learn in the Brysa says, yes, Zadiz v'niskar, you have someone who's Zadiz, meaning he's a heavy worker, v'niskar, and he gains. V'yash Zadiz, but you have another person who works, v'nifsat, and he loses. We're going to see what that means soon. Yes, Shuffle, v'niskar, you have a person who doesn't work. He's a Shuffle, he's a low person, meaning he's unemployed, and v'niskar, and he still gains. But yeah, Shuffle, v'nifsat, and you have a person who's unemployed, and not only is unemployed, he loses money. So the Bryce is now going to try trace all of those different opinions. Zod is v'niskar, the person who works and he gains. What does it mean? It's a person, David Kol Yishab, so a person who works the whole week from Monday to Friday. But on Friday he doesn't work. So that's why he works. He's a hard duty worker. He works his time. He works the whole week. And not only he works the whole week, he gains. Why does he gain? Because he gains an Haba for not working on Friday. Because on Friday, we said before that Chacham didn't want you to work on Friday. So he gains extra reward for not working on Friday. Then you have another person, Zad is V'nifsad. You have a person who works the whole week. But V'nifsad, he loses out. What does that mean? The Avid Kula Shabta, he works the whole week. V'avid Maila Shabta, but on Friday, and not only works the whole week, on Friday he also works. But since he works on Friday, Chacham aren't happy with him. So he ends up losing money from Friday. So that's a person who works but loses. Then you have a third person, Shafel V'niska. You have a person who doesn't work the whole week and he still gains. What is that person? The Loi Avid Kule Shabta. He doesn't work the whole week. The Loi Avid Ma'ala Shabta. He doesn't work Erev Shabbos either. So even though he doesn't work on Friday, because he doesn't work the whole week, but since he didn't work on Friday, he gets reward for not working on Friday. So his unemployment brings him reward. Then you have the fourth person, Shafal V'nifsa, the person who's unemployed and he loses, not only is unemployed, he loses money, is the Hainu, he works, the Avid Kuli Shabta, the whole week he doesn't work. Dafka on Friday he goes to work. Such a person who Dafka on Friday goes to work, not only loses the whole week's business, but also he loses money for working on Friday. The only day he goes to work is on Friday. And that's why he's a Shafal, he's an unemployed person who not only is unemployed, but ends up losing the business. So from here we see that Chacham were not happy with people working on Erev Shabbos. Amar Rabbi said, Hani Neshei Mecheza, the woman of Mecheza. There was a town called Mecheza. Afal Gav, the Le'avi Davita B'Mayla Shabbos. Even though they don't work on Erev Shabbos. Why don't they work on Erev Shabbos? Because they don't work on Erev Shabbos because they're rich anyway. They don't need to work on Erev Shabbos because they don't need the business. they work because they believe in the Takanas Chachamim of not working Shabbos, and that's on Erev Shabbos, and that's why they don't go to work. Even though they don't, even though together with that, Shafav and Niska Karinale, it's still counted. They still get reward for not working on Shabbos, on Erev Shabbos, because even though they don't have the intention to, they're still being Makayim the Takanas Chachamim of not working on Erev Shabbos. And the Gemara brings a example for this. Rabbi asked the question. There's one person that says in Tillim, Ksiv, Higadol ad Shemayim Chazdecha, that your chesed, your kindness, is until the heavens. Uksiv, there's another person that says, Higadol mi'al Shemayim Chazdecha, that your kindness is even on top of the heavens, it's overflowing the heavens. So the contradiction. How is this? How do we stick these two passages together? Kan ba'isen nishma. The pasuk that says that the Hashem's kindness is over the heavens is if he does a lishma. If you do mitzvah lishma, Hashem's kindness is over the heavens, meaning it's overflowing kindness. But if you do kindness, if you do mitzvah shalei lishma without any intent to be kind of mitzvah, you're doing it shalei lishma, so that you still get reward, like we see before of the ladies who don't work on Erev Shabbos, even though they don't work the whole week, but since they don't work on Erev Shabbos, they still get reward. Why did they get reward? Because they still did the mitzvah. And that's what the pasuk says, that Hashem's kindness is until the heavens, but it's not overflowing kindness, but you still get kindness, you still get reward from Hashem. Okay, the Rabbi Yehuda Marav, it's brought down in the name of Yehuda Marav. The Amar of Yehuda Marav is brought down in the name of Yehuda Marav. Le'elam yasik adam b'teira mitzvahs. A person should always be Isaac. A person should always do Torah mitzvahs. Afal pi shalei lishma, even though he doesn't have the right intent. Why should he do it? Because through doing it with the wrong intent, eventually it's going to come to doing it with the right intent. Now the Gemara continues speaking about different types of work, different types of works that bring money or don't make money. Someone who makes his business of renting out his wife to work for him, we're going to see what that means in a second. And so to someone who rents out a grinder or a mill, he's not going to see any, he's not going to make money from this business. What does that mean? What does it mean? He rents out his wife. It means that maskulta, meaning his wife goes around with a measurer, and his wife goes to the marketplace and she measures everyone. A lot of people don't have their own measurer. So they had one person who had the measuring stick, and she would measure all the produce for all the people. If you do that, since doing that doesn't make a lot of money and it's a very embarrassing job, so he's not going to make money. So to Rechaya, if you have a mill, a grinder, if you rent out a grinder, says the Gemara, if you rent out a grinder, it's not going to make money, because since it's something which it doesn't make a lot of money, and it's a very heavy, hard-working job because you have to transport it from place to place. It doesn't make money. But if your wife makes things to sell, and she sells them in public, then there's no problem with your wife working. The only problem is if your wife is working in a derogatory. If your wife is making clothes and selling them, that's very good. Like it says in the pasuk, that the wife makes, the wife makes garments and she sells it, and that's one of the praises for a wife. We're learning a brisa. Someone who sells twigs to make fences, or he sells drugs, he doesn't see blessing from that work, meaning he's not going to be successful in business. My timer, what's the reason? The reason for that is given the nafish since when you sell these things, you sell them in a very big, has a very high demand, and a lot of people come and are going to speak about your business, and it's going to make ein har. So people are going to say you sell them too expensive, you sell them too cheap. It's very high demand, so a lot of people know about the business, and therefore it's like make ein har, you're not going to make money. Another brisa speaking about business, it says tagari simta, people who sell their things in the marketplace, in the public marketplace, and people who grow animals like sheep and goats, okay, stayed on this table. So people who cut down good trees, and so to people when it comes to dividing things with other people, they always take the best part for themselves. They don't think about others. He's not going to see, all these people are not going to gain from their work. Why? My timer, what's the reason? the toe beinchik, because people speak bad about them, and therefore it's going to make ein hara, and they're not going to make business. Says another brayso that speaks on making money. We learn the brayso. There's 4 types of money, 4 types of businesses in Bohem which don't make any money. Number 1, the first business is the business of a seifrim, people who write film mezuzos. And so to people who translate the drasha for the Rav and Shabbos. People who are in charge of Yosemim funds, meaning they're in charge of they're in charge of the property of orphans. And the third thing is people who rely on their business of sending things like a transport service or a package service. They send things overseas. That also doesn't make any money. And the Rabbi goes through each one. And that which the Baisa said, that the business of translating the Rav Drash on Shabbos isn't a good business. Reason for that is the Masechta is Shabbos, because it looks like you're working on Shabbos. When does the Rav speak? The Rav speaks on Shabbos, and you're working from on Shabbos. So it looks like it's you're making money on Shabbos, even though there's ways to do it. And that, but since it's Maris Ein, it looks like you're working on Shabbos. You're not gonna have a simon bracha from it. And so to Mushum Yisayim Nami, so when it comes to working for Yisayim, if you're working for orphans, it's also another good thing, because if you're going to buy steak extra, so the same and they can't forgive you, so you're going to have money which is stolen, which you cannot be forgiven. So to if you're relying on your business of shipping things overseas, the reason why it doesn't make money, not every day, and that happens, and since it's very common that the ships sink, so you're going to make your business of sending things by ship, and it's going to sink. And but the reward for someone who writes Tfilim Mezuzos, my time. Why? What's the problem of writing Tfilim Mezuzos? Why can't I make business? Amr Shulman Levi said, because Eslim Adbat Aniyas Yashva Anshek Netzad Avdela, the Anshek Netzad Avdela fasted 24 fast days. Al Kaifsei Svarim Mezuzos Shalai Yisashru. Fasted 24 fast in order that the people who write Tfilim Mezuzos should not make a big business. Why? Because if they would make a big business, then they would stop making money. They wouldn't write a lot, and since they wouldn't write a lot, there'll be a big shortage of Tfilim Mezuzos. So they made a takana that in order for them to make money, they have to write a lot of Tfilim Mezuzos, and that's why in general they don't make so much money. People who write Tfilim Mezuzos, them and all their workers, so to anyone who works for L'Shem Shamayim, which this comes to include people who sell tcheles for tzitzis, do not see, it's not a big business, and aren't going to see a big increase in the income from this business. But if they do it Lishma, so then they would be able to see. It's only if you work L'Shem Shamayim, then if you work in a holy work, then you don't make money. But if you work if you work in a holy business like writing tefillin and you have kavanah and lishma, then you are going to make money. The more I finish up with the story, Bnei Baishon, there was a place called Baishon. So the people of Baishon know they made a minhag that they wouldn't go from a place sword to Tzidain on Erev Shabbos. I mean, they wouldn't travel on Erev Shabbos. Also, their kids came after they died. Their children came to Rabbi Yochanan, and they told him, our fathers didn't have to go. Meaning, our fathers didn't have any business in the marketplace, so therefore they were able to keep this chumrah of not traveling on Erev Shabbos. And now, but us, we have a business in the marketplace, and Friday is a working day, so we need to travel on Erev Shabbos. Rabbi Yochanan told them, since your parents already were makabel the minhag, it became the minhag of the city, and therefore you have to keep it shenam, like it says in pasuk, Shma b'ni Musa Ravicha, once the parents are makabel minhag, the children should not change it. Okay, we're going to stop over here at the bottom of Daf Nun Amud Beis, and we'll continue tomorrow and do it tomorrow. Daf Nun Aleph Mitzvah.